Armed with a ton of skill and the desire to redeem the 2021 team after a disappointing loss to the Americans in the gold medal game, Team Canada's 2022 World Juniors Championship roster looks like as formidable as any team we've ever seen in the last decade. The roster has been finalized, and while there were some surprising omissions, this year's squad has the skill, size, and depth to go toe-to-toe with any team in this year's tournament. The onus is now on head coach Dave Cameron to bring this team together and have them embrace a team mindset despite having players that will undoubtedly be playing lower in the lineup than they normally would on any other team. For a team that is always loaded with future NHL superstars, the Canadian teams that have had the success in this tournament are the ones that have been able to not only just outplay their opponents, but outlast them as well. This year's squad, just like many before, has the pieces to do just that. So when we're looking at the goaltenders, we're looking at Kosa and Garand pretty much leading the way. And Dylan Garand is a New York Rangers prospect taken in the 2020 draft, and he's going to be basically returning after claiming the starter's role for Team Canada before the tournament had been postponed. He's 6'1", 181 pounds, and has had a highly successful 2021-22 campaign. Through 45 games with the Kamloops Blazers of the Western Hockey League, he held a goals against average of 2.16 and a save percentage of .925 and 4 shutouts on his way to a 34-9-1 record. His efforts earned him recognition as the 2022 CHL Goaltender of the Year. Sebastian Kosa, who was taken 15th overall by the Red Wings in the 21 draft, had a strong season of his own playing for the Edmonton Oil Kings. He posted a 33-9-3 record, a 2.28 goals against average, and a .913 save percentage while backstopping the WHL champions. While his base stats were not as impressive as Garand, he may become Team Canada's most talented goaltender as long as he plays up to the potential. And there's also a fact that Kosa is tall, and I mean he is comically tall. You can see on this Twitter post right here that he doesn't even fit in the frame for the camera when he's doing an interview, so he is just huge. And, I mean, while size is not really everything, there is a reason why Kosa was drafted as high as he was. He's a competitive and surely relish goalie, and he should definitely have the chance to put the pressure of being Team Canada's go-to guy in net. Garand is no slouch, though, and there were pretty much reasons why he was set to be the guy in goal for the Canadians back in December. It'll be very interesting to see exactly how the situation plays out early on in the tournament. Team Canada's defense looks a bit different from the group that wore the red, white, and black back in December, but there are some familiar faces. Returning, amongst others, are 2021 draftees Carson Lambos and Olin Zellweger. Lambos, who the Minnesota Wild took with the 26th pick in the NHL draft, experienced a bit of a bounce-back season with the Winnipeg Ice of the WHL after spending the prior season in Finland due to the pandemic. He recorded 47 points through 51 regular season games and played a premier role as one of the best teams in the WHL. He should be in a position to play big minutes for Team Canada at this tournament as well. Zellweger, who the Anaheim Ducks took just 8 picks after the Wild took Lambos, was one of the most impressive players in the WHL this past season. He's 5'10" and 174 pounds playing defense, and he posted top-tier offensive numbers with 78 points through 55 games with the Everett Silvertips, and then he followed that by posting up 9 more points through 6 playoff games. Don't let his small stature fool you. He's going to be a big factor for the Canadians in this tournament. And then rounding out team's defense are a few players that are already having pro experience in the American Hockey League. Donovan Sebrango and Ryan O'Rourke. Sebrango, who's another Red Wings prospect, is at 6'2" and is one of Team Canada's biggest defensemen. He has played 96 AHL games with the Grand Rapids Griffins and has established himself as a reliable defensive presence while playing against men. O'Rourke, who soon may become teammates with Lambos in Minnesota, played 33 games in the AHL during the 2020-21 season before he returned to the Sioux Greyhounds of the Ontario Hockey League the season after that. And as captain of the Greyhounds, he posted 46 points through 51 games and added another 12 points through 10 playoff games. And then on to the forwards, there are a ton of Canadian forwards that are so intriguing to look at. But the name that most people will be talking about is, of course, Connor Bedard, the presumptive top pick of the 2023 draft. Back in December, there was some debate heading into Team Canada's roster selection as to whether or not Bedard would ultimately make the team. And at just 16 years old, he was the youngest player on the team. The only player shorter than him at 5'9" is Logan Stankoven, who's 5'8", yet the young phenom would not be denied a spot on the roster. 8 months later, there was no question about Bedard's status on Team Canada. While August signals the beginning of scouting season for the 2023 draft, the 2022 World Juniors Championship signaled the beginning of Bedard's season. His play against some of the top prospects in the sport has to offer as being seen on live television. While the star of the Canadians' offense may be a player that isn't drafted yet, the rest of the offense features some players that could be considered a top prospect for their respective NHL teams. For example, Mason McTavish, who was selected 3rd overall in the 2021 draft. was impressive in a 9-game stint with the Anaheim Ducks this season before they returned him to the Peterborough Petes of the OHL. Then there's also Kent Johnson, who was selected 5th overall in 2021. He reached the Frozen Four with the University of Michigan before joining the Columbus Blue Jackets for 9 games at the end of the season. And then the aforementioned Stan Coven, who was selected 47th overall in the 2021 NHL draft. He had made the Dallas Stars look very good after he recorded 45 goals and 104 points through 59 games in the WHL this past season. So clearly this forward group has skill, they have speed, they have grit, and a healthy dose of two-way ability. Whether it's a 2-1 defensive battle or a 6-5 shootout, Team Canada has the personnel to play any type of game that comes their way. The objective is as simple as it is every time the WJC rolls around: win the gold. And after coming very, very close in last year's tournament, only one player from that team returns, which is Garand. So it'll be up to a whole new group to avenge that loss. While the silver medal tastes sweet by itself, it tastes bitter compared to the gold, especially when you have to stand there and watch the winning team experience what gold tastes like. This team can go head-to-head against any team in this year's tournament. I'm fully confident. There will be little to no excuses if this team falls short of their goal. It's obviously a ton of pressure to carry the hopes of an entire nation, but the players on this year's edition of Team Canada are all built for that kind of pressure, and they likely even welcome it. Talk is cheap though, but victory is gold. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a wonderful day.